Here we go. It's recording now, and we usually do a testing portion of the podcast beforehand. I don't know if you listened to any of the recent episodes, but this is sort of like a thing that I do right before I actually start the show. I introduce the audience to a testing portion that goes at the beginning of the show, but it's not the actual show here. Even though it's part of the show. You get what I'm saying, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I usually say stuff like 3, 2, 1, testing, right? Stuff like that. It's not really the most exciting part of the show, so don't get your expectations up. There's a lot of background noise, as I mentioned in a few of these episodes. So, but it's a nice environment here, So, I think we should start the show, don't you think?
Yeah, sure. Okay.
Yeah.
Is there anything you want to talk about?
Usually in the testing portion, there's not much to talk about.
I guess so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
I watched a couple of your episodes.
Yeah.
There was one about wasabi, which I think was esoteric because I didn't get it.
Right.
And then,
yeah. I don't expect you to get anything that I make.
Okay. Not sure if I should be insulted by that.
Yeah. Well, no. I don't expect anyone to.
Yeah, I know. It's all esoteric. You were talking about Beowulf in one of them.
Oh yeah.
Which was interesting.
Yeah.
You picked up on some
Beowulf.
Interesting details on that one.
That was a good book, I think.
You think?
I think so.
Oh.
Yeah. Well,
sounds like you were a little confused by it, which I don't blame you because it's a weird book.
Yeah. I think, because I also talk about, The Man in the High Castle.
Oh, yeah, I've watched that show, actually.
And, yeah, that's a...
You like that show?
I like it, I mean, look, I don't like it because, I identify with the characters, as in, the Nazis, right? And the Japanese.
I don't think that needs to be said.
What?
I don't think anyone was implying that.
Well, just in case, because you never know with the cancel culture, right?
Well, now I feel like I should be concerned that you do identify with those people.
Okay, no, that's not the point here. I'm just saying, for the record, I'm not a Nazi.
Okay.
You're not a Nazi, are you?
I mean, I didn't think anyone would ever think that, but I'm not a Nazi.
So you're not, okay.
No, of course not.
Good. You're supposed to deny that you're a Nazi, right?
Yeah, but I'm not concerned anyone would think that.
Well, just to be safe.
Do you think that, Alberto?
I never said I think anything. I'm just saying, look, I'm protecting you, your legal interests.
My legal interests?
Just in case some of these woke mobs want to sue you.
Mobs?
Yeah. I mean, it could happen.
They could sue me for... let's just say, for the sake of the argument, that I'm not a Nazi, but that I was a Nazi. Now, if I was a Nazi...
Right.
They can't sue me for having that opinion. But they could cancel me on Twitter.
They could.
But here's the deal. I'm not on Twitter.
Oh.
I don't give a shit what they say on Twitter if I'm not on there.
There you go.
I've already got the ace in the hole, so when if someone, being a Nazi, because they totally wouldn't, because I'm definitely not one.
Okay.
You know what I mean.
Power play.
They can't get me. It's just, I thought so many steps ahead. It almost makes me look guilty now. I'm talking it out, but
But you know what? We're not guilty, all right?
We're not guilty. We're not Nazis. If anyone's actually listening to this, and I doubt anyone is, I'm not a Nazi.
Hey, man. I mean, that's offensive.
Okay, there's one person
that
who
was
watches.
offensive. Okay.
It's probably you.
You know what? It probably is.
Hopefully it gets big.
Hopefully, yeah.
Yeah. we're kind of big as like, I mean,
Yeah. All right.
it's just for fun.
Yeah.
So
Well, actually, let me just end
Sure,
this
yeah.
testing portion because I mean we technically haven't started the show, right? This is just like a warm up.
Okay. I see.
So, yeah. Okay. Let's start the show. Hey, this is Albert Orange, and welcome to the Bell the Before podcast with Albert Orange, hosted by yours truly, Albert Orange. Working title, by the way, because you know about this. I'm trying to come up with a new name, but you know what? This is a very special episode, as you might have noticed in our endearing testing portion. There's a new voice added to the mixture, and that is my very good friend, Jared. I can use your name, right?
I don't care.
I'm not going to use your last name because, well, that would be, doxing you in a way.
In a way.
Yeah.
But I don't really mind if you use my first name.
I could technically go out, outside and look at your license plates and read them out.
I would prefer if you didn't do that.
Well, I'm not going to do that, but I'm just saying,
Well, now I feel like I should be concerned.
Well, now I'm just saying that I'm not going to do that.
Okay.
But I could.
All right.
So, there's that threat. So, how you doing, Jared? We've been hanging out a little bit, and we go to the same school and same college, right? But we've known each other for quite a while now, right?
Since like third grade in elementary school.
Pretty much 10 years ago. That's when we met.
Is that right?
Yeah.
I would have been like 8 then. I'm 20 now, so it's like 12 years.
Well, no, we didn't meet in third grade. We met in fourth grade. We met in the fourth grade.
We met in the fourth grade.
Because I moved to the new school.
Oh, yeah, you're
fourth
right.
grade, right?
So I've been like 9, 10.
Yeah. Yeah, no,
Probably.
that was the year that I turned 10. So.
Yeah, that was about 10 years ago.
Yeah.
That's a long time.
Yeah. A full decade,
Yeah.
Like pretty much the entire 2010s, right? And we've done many things. We've talked about many things, and now you're here on my podcast in front of my Christmas tree in my house, and you came uninvited. Actually, you're actually here
I just showed up.
because you ran out of gas, and I thought, you know what, I'm gonna give you some gas, because we keep some gasoline in the backyard. I don't know if that's legal or not, but my dad does it, right?
Just out of your dad.
Just
What if that was illegal? I have no idea, but...
Well, they don't know what state we're in. Actually, they do. They do. I think I've said that we lived in the Pacific Northwest, right? And I think if somebody really smart were listening to this, they would figure out that we're which state we're specifically living in, right?
But if they were really smart, I mean, to be honest, they probably wouldn't be listening to us. We have better things to do.
So, anyways, you
Listen to a
come
couple
here.
of goofballs.
Let's just
Okay.
skip that. All right.
All right.
So you come here. You said, "Hey, Albert, help me. Ran out of gas." And I say, "All right, I'll give you some gas. But why don't you come over to my podcast first? Let's have a good old time, right? And talk about the world, the future, and things, right?
Right.
Right. So, but I haven't mentioned yet that it's episode 21, right? And, it's not just a special episode because you're here, Jared. It's a very special episode precisely because it's episode 21. So, I thought I would do something special here.
Oh.
This is dedicated to the young folks out there listening.
You stupid.
They're not.
What's 9 plus 10?
Wait.
21.
You stupid.
They're not.
What's 9 plus 10?
That's it.
21.
What the fuck are you doing?
What do you mean?
Did you plan that out? You
Yeah.
had
No, what's even crazier?
you never stopped to think for a second. What if this isn't funny?
I thought it was appropriate for this episode.
I mean, it's not entirely inappropriate, but it's
Well, what's even crazy?
I think some people have PTSD from having that meme.
Oh,
every year.
you know what? People complain about, my life is ruined because I saw this meme and I'm gonna I'm gonna die now. And it's like, you know what? It's a meme. It's a joke. Maybe it's been told to death, but it's still funny.
Okay.
Alright?
Fair enough.
You know what's
I
crazier?
won't get on you, but
You know what's crazier? I actually recorded an episode last night, and that was the 21st episode that I would have recorded, right? But I called it episode 22 because I wanted this one to be 21, even though this one's technically supposed to be the 22nd episode that I will have recorded, So, because it's my podcast and I could do whatever I want, right?
that's fair.
So, yeah, I did plan that out, Jared, and I thought it was appropriate. Sue me, all right? This is for the kids listening. I'm trying to garner an audience, and I'm
For
trying
an
to
audience of kids.
yeah,
Yeah.
6-year-olds. Why not? Why not, Jared?
I mean, hey, it's your podcast, like you said.
Yeah. Well, you're on this podcast too, and I've been planning to do something like this for a while. With the guest. I thought about you a few times, and I thought, you know what? Just too busy, watching his Seahawks.
Watching my Seahawks.
Watching his
I
Seahawks.
haven't watched the last 4 or 5 games of theirs.
Yeah, no, me neither.
I mean, I've heard about them, but I don't really watch much football anymore. Maybe this wasn't 4 or 5 games ago now, but I think the last one I watched was between them and the not Redskins. The not racist team.
The football team.
The football team, the squad.
Yeah.
It's been 2 years, they can't think of a better name, but
Right.
that's beside the point.
Mm-hmm.
They were playing it, and they had already had a bunch of really bad calls up to that point in the game. Stuff where the Hawks should have been ahead, but at least some points probably would have been if it wasn't for some just BS calls,
Right.
It's even the commentators were saying what the heck is going on, And those guys are total, they're they just agree with everything. So they don't want to be causing controversy.
Yeah, right.
So if they're saying it, there's something to it.
It's bad. Yeah.
Yeah. And the last bit of the game was when the Hawks were trying to come back ahead because they had been in it the whole time, and again, the only reason this football group of associated people, the reason that they're even in the game is because of just made up crap. And in this last kickoff, it's an onside kick, they make the
Right.
onside kick and they recover it.
Okay.
So the Hawks have the ball. All they need is a field goal, I think, either to tie it up or win the game.
Oh my God.
they made it, everything was done, and like I swear to God, like a whole minute later, like they come up with this penalty they throw out. You can see the refs are just arguing with each other, and then the commentator's like, "This is really late. Like, are you kidding me? Like, this is gonna ruin the game if they have to call this back." And here's what they say: apparently, there's this rule. I don't even understand it entirely myself, so don't ask me about it because I don't know.
All right.
But when they have guys on the onside kick, when the kicker's kicking it, you know the guys who are lined up with him on the line, you know, like because they're about to run for it.
The lineman.
Yeah, well, not the lineman, but on the special teams play when they're kicking off,
right,
when they're like
yeah,
that like running pose, they're about to break into a run.
Okay.
There's like this guy who's like to the kicker's right, so it would be to the other team's left. So he's on the other side of the field where the ball ends up going on the play.
Right.
So he's not going to get to it. But apparently his foot was like an inch too far towards that kicker. And so they said, all right, for this totally made up, unknown, well, not made up, but it was probably in the rule books.
Okay.
But for this really obscure, unheard of, just unimportant part of the play.
Right.
You know. And for this weird rule no one's ever heard of. That's why they called it back. And the onside kick didn't work. They tried again, but it didn't work, you know, because those things happen like, you know, it's like catching lightning in a bottle, right?
Right.
They took out, every time the game was going to be fun, at least for me, a Seahawks fan, I don't think a Washington fan would be happy about it.
Right.
But you get the gist. Like, it's making the game interesting, it's keeping it close, you know, everything that should have happened, you know, all the things that didn't need to get turned around, and that just the refs ruined the game. And that's nothing new. That's not news. Like, that happens all the time, but it was so painful. They could have won that game. Mm-hmm. And they just... fuck.
There was that one time where I think it might have been like the Titans game. Maybe it was a few weeks back, but I'm not exactly sure what team it was. But there was... I think the Seahawks were playing this team, and I'm just going to say it's the Titans, right? There's a Titans dude, I think is a wide receiver, right? You know, he catches the ball, you know, he's in the end zone. Everyone thinks he scores a touchdown, right? But, you know, like, and you know, even as a Hawks fan, right? You have to go? You have to go?
No.
All right. Even as a Hawks fan, you know, I can fully acknowledge, I don't like to acknowledge it, but I can fully acknowledge that it's a touchdown because his foot was in the line, right? But he was like way back, right? Do you know what I'm talking about?
Maybe not that play exactly, but I get like what the gist you're saying. Yeah, that makes sense.
And everyone can clearly see that it's a touchdown, and they still call it off. They don't. They rule it. You know, hey, it's not a touchdown. And, you know, which is good, you know, as a Seahawks fan. But, I mean, it just goes to show you, what the heck are these refs doing? Can they not see? Can they not? I mean, isn't that what VAR is used for? Do they even use VAR at these NFL games?
You know, that's the problem. It's too complicated, and they take it too seriously. Like, it's just a game. Like, I get there's people in, like, I don't know, is it LA, Vegas, who, like, bet like crazy on it, you know what I mean?
Okay.
So...
It might be Vegas, because that's with all the casinos and stuff.
That would make some sense.
Yeah.
But, like, you know, there's sports betting, right? So they want to get it right so people don't get angry. But it's also, like, you know, it's just a game. Like, if you were putting millions of dollars on the line and you fail, then... sorry, you're stupid. Like, you know, if you put that much money on just a game, you know, that can go either way, you know, it's like that, what is it, like, any given Sunday, I think they call it, like, a team that should never have won can win. It happens sometimes, and if you lose a whole lot of money on it, that's your fault. Like, you shouldn't have put money in that if you were worried about losing it. That's not anyone else's problem, but... the way the NFL treats it now is just like it's always their problem. They always have to have their like fingers in it. Just well, especially like how they send it to. I think they call it New York. Some people are like overlooking it, like, oh yeah, we got to watch what happened.
Yeah.
Just have the refs make the decision, and they make bad decisions sometimes. I mean, you can't get rid of that, but like with all these like extra special rules, it just makes the game slower than it needs to be.
Yeah.
Oh, and the advertising's even worse. But it just sound like old men talking about
Yeah.
at the NFL. But yeah,
You think?
it's so hard to watch it now though because of that.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, well, what are you gonna do? Gonna watch XFL maybe?
XFL.
Do they
Is that
do-
on?
I don't know. Right now, it's not on.
Oh,
No.
crap.
I don't know when XFL is gonna come on, but I mean, you've watched a little bit of it, right?
The XFL?
Yeah.
No.
Oh, I thought you did. Because you talked about it.
I was excited about it when they talked about it because he was like, oh, this is going to be a no-nonsense type stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, okay, that sounds like fun. I mean, something he was like, I think Vince McMahon is the guy's name?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's his name.
Yeah, that's his name. Yeah. He kind of strikes me as an idiot most of the time. I think it's just his, his stage personality. He's probably not an actual idiot.
Right.
Because he's really rich. Like, he's, built his own...
Yeah.
It can't be that stupid. But, yeah, so usually when he says stuff, I just ignore it. But when he, talked about the XFL, it sounded like this time they were taking it seriously. The only thing that I heard a rumor about, but I don't know if this is true, so don't take my word for it.
Okay.
He's like, in the XFL, we'd never allow Colin Kaepernick to kneel. It's like, okay, well, I don't think you can be allowed to do that anyways, so...
Mm-hmm.
It's just a stupid thing to say.
Yeah.
But
Unnecessary.
that's kind of the thing he does. He likes to get attention from what he's doing, get people to watch it. And I think he understands the idea of the target audience, A lot of companies miss that today, but there's a target audience to what you're making.
Right.
So you have to realize there's that, kind of cohort of people who, I mean, if we're being honest, they probably would like Vince McMahon to say that, even if he's not actually going to enforce it. That's sort of grandstanding. So
Controversial coming from Jared.
controversial.
Controversial.
Controversial. I mean,
Uh,
whether you agree with it or not, it's his choice. It's not like you can just.
right.
It's the
no.
Constitution.
I see what you're saying. Yeah,
I can't do anything about it, even if I didn't like it. To be honest, I don't really care. By the end of the day, it's just some guy kneeling.
Yeah.
He might be a asshole. He might be a nice guy. I don't know him. He played for the Niners, so he's probably evil.
He's not playing anymore, is he?
No. They got rid of him. I can't remember why. Probably that was the reason, but
Yeah, well,
I can't
too much controversy.
too much controversy.
You know what? At least he got a Nike ad out of it.
At least he got that.
Yeah, at least. Yeah. So good for that guy.
I didn't even recognize him at first when he was in that.
Yeah, no,
Who's
he-
this guy? He looks familiar. Oh, it's Colin Kaepernick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And good for Nike, Good for them, standing up with the black community.
With the black community,
Yeah.
not with children in Vietnam, but
Whoa, wait, what?
You haven't heard of that?
No. What's
There's sweatshops in East Asia.
Oh, okay. I thought you were talking about the Vietnam War.
No,
No.
it's nothing to do with that.
I don't
No.
know why I would think that, but yeah. Yeah, no, you make a good point. And
I don't think they actually care about
no.
systemic racism.
Look, it's a business. They're on the grind. They're making, they're securing their bags.
I guess that makes sense.
You know what that term means, right? Securing the bag.
I think based on context, I might
Yeah,
understand it.
it
but-
means making your money, putting it in a bag, and securing it with a tie at the top.
Yeah.
That's the lingo that the kids say.
Oh, they do.
Yeah. Yeah, I forgot what we're talking about.
I
But you know,
think we're talking about NFL, but that's probably a...
you think the
Dead
CFL?
subject.
You think the CFL has like any?
What's that?
Has the the Canadian football? League?
Oh, I thought they went out of business.
What?
Or was it the Indoor Football League? One of them went out of business.
that might have been the indoor foot. No, the CFL is still going on, man.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Yeah, no.
I know there was some like good players who came from the Canadian Football League, but
Really?
yeah, like I can't think of any off the top of my head, but I know there's been. Like,
Yeah, no. It looks kind of cool, but I mean, too bad we don't have that here in America.
America.
I mean, I bet there's like some way that you could stream it on maybe DirecTV. I don't know. What's their version of streaming services over there? Maple Plus.
Maple Plus.
Like the Maple Leaf. I don't know.
Right. Poor Canada. That was
Maybe I'm
getting
just
fun
being
of.
racist. Right? I'm just being racist. And
Just casual racism.
just casual racism.
Yeah.
It's it doesn't bother me. But I think
Doesn't bother you. It might bother Canadians.
doesn't you know what? We could have invaded them 1,000 times and we didn't. We technically could now.
I
You
think.
think
I don't know.
you think that could be possible? An invasion of Canada?
I mean, it's the logical conclusion of the way things are going. I mean, just think about it. They have a whole lot of natural resources. They're just like, they've got Quebec and the rest of the country, like, don't get along or whatever. I read that in, like, school in the 5th grade, so it might be true.
Yeah, no. Yeah.
And,
The Quebecois.
yeah,
Yes.
the
They don't
French.
Yeah,
something.
they don't like they don't particularly identify with a bunch of other culture values that the Caucasian Canadians,
I think they're all Caucasian. French or Caucasian.
Anglo Canadians.
Okay,
Is that-
Anglo.
okay,
Yeah.
okay,
You're
that's-
right about that, but like
Yeah.
Franco and Anglo, and I don't entirely understand that because why they wouldn't get along, but apparently they do, and I'm not there, so I know nothing about it. But
Yeah. Apologies. My little cousin just came by to say hello, and he's still here. But he's currently making tingles. You ever make tingles?
did they need to know that information?
No. What were we talking about? Canadian football?
That was something weird. Yeah, like how Canada.
Oh yeah, the
annexed.
Quebecois. Yeah, they don't.
I just think like if they wanted to be independent, they could just be like a little state in the United States, but maybe with a little bit like on a bit of a longer leash, Just they have protection if they ever needed it,
Yeah,
and it makes a lot of sense. Like you can't have like your own unconnected economy from the rest of the world because I don't think it really works like that. I'm
yeah,
not an economist, but I feel like that's a sick bet, You can surmise that. Even if they separated from Canada, there's like no way they wouldn't be part of it all.
Yeah.
And
Would they wouldn't be sustainable if they separated. Well, I mean, they would have trade, right, with Canada.
well, let's think about this. Like, what if they're really pissed off like the Canadian government, right? Like,
Yeah.
I think it's like Alberta or something. Maybe
Okay.
that's not right. Not Alberta. Well, you get like Toronto,
Okay.
So Montreal pisses off Toronto. Quebec separates. And it's kind of like the United States and Cuba, because they were basically like next thing to a territory, the United States. Like, we didn't have actual direct control, but, like, in effect we did back then. If we, like, embargoed them,
Yeah.
that wouldn't be very good for the economy. So if Canada did that to Quebec, let's say Quebec could somehow be independent, but that makes Canada angry, like trying to pressure them back into, you know,
Yeah.
so.
Yeah. And this is my friend Jared.
Hello.
What do you want to do? You want to hang around? You have to be quiet though. I'll let you play video games and I'll bring you back in a second. Yeah? Alright. This is an exciting development in the Belle de Before podcast. My little cousin is here. Yeah, just do that. And he's gonna play some video games. So, episode 21, everyone. Alright. You want to play Star Wars or Spider-Man or Star Wars? Alright. Quite shy around new people, huh? Alright. You don't have to be. What?
He knows what he wants.
Yeah, he likes playing video games, and that's what he'll do.
Makes sense to me.
Yeah. All right. Well, how was school? Good. What'd you do?
A lot of stuff.
What?
A lot of stuff.
A lot of stuff.
So
Yeah.
fun. It was Friday. There was popcorn.
Popcorn? Oh shoot. Don't do that. I'm gonna tell your sister.
Yeah, sure.
All right. Can you let us do this thing? All right.
It's a very important podcast for Alberto.
God. Oh, I think we've.
I'm talking about something kind of dumb. Yeah.
The point of this is, we would like to invade Canada. That's what we're saying, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, it doesn't have to be like violent, but it would be kind of funny if it was.
Whoa. Now that would be awesome.
You know, just it's like
No war. Just hey.
they just don't resist. I don't see why they would. I mean, like they seem like really calm people when I talk to them. You know, they're kind of strange. Every single Canadian I've ever met is kind of strange. Other than one professor I had, I really think was Canadian. He was just a normal dude.
Huh. Okay.
He was really nice. All of them I've ever met were nice. They're kind of strange, you know, and like.
How are they strange? Like what? Is
a
it
couple
things they say?
A couple of them I met, they just seem like, you know, when you're just like nice in kind of a weird way. Like you almost seem like a bit naive, you know. I'm sure that's true for like probably not most of them, but just by like. So there's like one time I was working at a job, for example, and this guy has like this big British Columbia he has a sticker on his car of like British Columbia. It says British Columbia. He also has a license plate. So I'm like, oh, you came south to visit, you know? And he's like, yeah, how'd you know? And, you know, because at the job, like, I'm packing things into his car. I'm just like, I don't want to be rude, but, like, it was kind of obvious.
Right.
How did you think I didn't notice? And I was like, I just said, oh, license plate. It's like, oh, yeah, that makes sense. Like, yeah. And I'm sure that was one guy, but, like, they all seem so nice. It's kind of hard not to, like, subconsciously generalize, you know?
Oh.
They're probably a lot like that because, like, they're all nice and stuff. And that's everything I've ever heard from anyone else.
Huh.
You know?
Yeah. You know, I haven't really, like, met too many Canadians. I've seen a few, like, in the, you know, like a few in the, like, the Mexican supermarket that we have over on the other side of town. Yeah, it was kind of random. Like, we just seen them, and, like, they were, like, very pale compared to, like, everyone else, you know, because it's a
Yeah.
Mexican supermarket. You know, I'm not being not racist. We're not racist. No Nazism on this podcast, right? But there was this. It was this older woman, 60s maybe, and there was this little boy that she was accompanied with, and I haven't went up and talked to them, but like, I guess I'm only assuming that they're Canadian because the little boy, he was like wearing like a soccer jersey and it just said Canada on the back, and they just
Canadian.
what?
Might be Canadian.
Yeah, so that's why I was, and those are pretty much like the only Canadians that I've ever really seen, But you know what makes me like I don't know, annoyed maybe. It's whenever you see like a Canadian actor, like in a movie, right?
Yeah.
And you don't know that they're Canadian because they don't really. I mean, Canadians and Americans they don't really
Look that different.
right. So
They're probably not. They probably don't act that different either.
no, and I mean aside from like being nice or whatever, but generally that's the case.
It's hard to tell the difference.
Yeah, it's hard to tell the difference between a Canadian and American sometimes. So when you see an actor in a movie or a TV show, and then you find out that they're Canadian, at least for me, it's like, why didn't I see that? I mean, of course, it kind of seems obvious because they don't really like. Take Nathan Fillion for example. You know who he is?
No.
I didn't expect you to because you don't really follow up on pop culture. But for anyone who knows who Nathan Fillion is, he's a Canadian actor. He stars in Castle, right? And he's an actor, right? And then I find out he's Canadian, and there's nothing wrong with being Canadian, of course, But I'm just like, wow, like that's really interesting. I can't believe that I didn't see that because I otherwise would have thought he was American, and that's happened to me several other times with several other different Canadian actors and actresses, and it's just like,
Yeah.
why can't I see that? I wish I had like these race glasses,
Race glasses.
race glasses.
I
Again,
don't think they're a race. I think they're just a nationality.
right. Nationality glasses then,
Yeah.
could just tell you like, okay, this person speaks this language, so, and that person comes from that country, and stuff like that. It's not to be racist, by the way. Again, we're not racist. I'm not racist. But I'm just saying that could be like a cool invention. So get on it, Elon.
Elon.
Elon Musk.
Yeah, Elon Musk. Yeah, you see, he
Yeah,
knows.
he knows. Elon Musk.
I see him in GTA 5.
You saw Elon Musk in GTA 5?
Yeah.
Bro, what? So, well, now that we got all that out of the way,
Okay, I was thinking about something this morning. I thought
Oh,
we
okay.
could bring up.
okay, you can bring it up now. Well, actually, let me just
Okay,
do
sure.
this
Yeah.
little segment. Hold that thought. We have a segment here on the podcast.
Yeah.
Are you familiar with this? Like the show notes segment? Oh, all right.
No, I'm not.
All right. Well, what I do is, I had these index cards, right, from a history class, right?
Oh yeah.
The, flashcards, as the teacher would call them. And we would take a bunch of definitions from the history textbook, and we would write them down on index cards, and we'd write down the term and the definition. So that's what I have. right now, and that's what I write my show notes on. You know, stuff that to talk about. You know, certain topics, and yeah. So each week, you know, there's a different flashcard that I write my show notes on. So this week's show notes are brought to you by Stalemate. Stalemate. Korean War ended with a stalemate, comma, ceasefire.
Okay.
That's the definition.
A ceasefire?
A ceasefire. Stalemate.
So, what?
And I mean that's it. That's all I
You just do those.
Then I usually do like a pretend ad for Stalemate. You know, like how I said, like this week's show notes are brought to you by Stalemate, right? You know, so now
okay.
it's like a product. You know, as if I'm doing like an ad. You know.
Yeah.
So then I usually say something like, you know, if you're ever fighting a war and your country is divided, and it seems like there's no clear winner, and you just want to get this done and over with,
Try stalemate.
try a stalemate. Available at a border near you. All right. Well, what were you gonna say?
Oh,
You think about something this morning?
yeah. So, what about them aliens? You know, you think they like exist or whatnot,
Aliens, do they exist?
or like they're trying to because I know there's been some sort of news about that recently.
Oh,
Remember that?
yeah. The Pentagon spotted like a UFO, and like they
Yeah.
confirmed it.
And they're like, we don't know what this is.
Right.
So like now a bunch of people think that it's aliens.
Well, here's my uninformed opinion. All right. Probably, yeah. I mean, look. If the universe is so big as they say it is, you know, I mean, trillions of light years across, right? I think it's trillions, right? If not billions.
Okay, it's a lot. Yeah.
Okay. Then who is to say that there isn't a planet somewhere out there that can't house, you know, life, support life, sustain life? You know, it doesn't have to be humans, you know, or maybe it is humans, but I mean, they're not from Earth, from our Earth. They're, you know, I think we can call them aliens, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know, if they look at, you know, identical to us. So yeah, I do believe in aliens. I do believe I believe they exist, or maybe they've existed. Maybe they're gonna exist. So I don't know. It just we don't really know too much about us as a civilization in the galaxy, in the universe. It's kind of sad, actually. You know, we don't know if there's anyone out there. You know.
Yeah, you know, I was thinking though, like, if it's a real like national or international security like concern, why would they reveal it at all though? Like, why let that out there? Like, why not just be like, oh yeah, that's one of our things? Wouldn't it be easier, like, probably, for them to just be like, you know, if there wasn't aliens, and they were like maybe testing out some weird crap, or like, you know, some other country was doing something, and they just didn't want the public to be concerned, just be like, oh yeah, it could be aliens, who knows? Like, then that gets people like looking in the wrong direction, you know, like a red herring.
You're saying, like, you know, take that footage and just store it in Area 51 or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if the government's working on anything like special, but we know like the U-2 planes and like the planes that came after, those were like, you know, completely confidential for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
There's still a lot of stuff they don't reveal from like Cold War era.
Yeah.
So I was just thinking to myself, like, we're looking at this, a government, a guilty party, probably. If we just see them in that sort of same kind of light,
Okay.
you could just say, are they trying to cover their tracks? Because aliens are really good, red herrings. You could say them, and then people will start looking for them because they know most people, like Joe Rogan, for example. I'm not saying anything against him. I'm just saying
Right.
he's probably gonna be oh, I bet these are aliens and all that, right? And people are just gonna kind of believe it because a lot of people just want to believe it, and conspiracy theories are really popular these days.
Yeah.
I feel like it, at least anyways. So it's just a thought. What if they were just just trying to get us on a different path? And also think about it this way. It's statistically likely that there are aliens out there.
Right.
But at the same time, it's not necessarily likely that there are spacefaring civilizations, advanced ones, like in Star Wars or
Right.
some sci-fi. Because if we think about it, on Earth, it's not common at all to have advanced civilizations. Where we are today is really different. And there's been a lot of times when civilizations risen and collapsed, and sometimes on larger scales, sometimes on smaller scales. But you get what I mean. It's the Dark Ages. There's the Bronze Age collapse and all that I learned in history about. And if there's these filters that destroy civilizations, with the Bronze Age, they didn't know that over farming could get all the silt out, and then they have a famine, which
Right.
one thing led to another.
Yeah.
I remember watching this on I think it's called Kurzgesagt.
Bless you.
Yeah,
Kurzgesagt.
I
watched that. Yeah.
and they talk about some sort of paradox, and there must be things that filter out
Yeah.
societies, destroy them.
Right.
And that it's entirely possible that probably aren't that many civilizations that have gone to where we have, because we've gotten past certain things that we didn't realize,
Of course.
and then there's there's these things
Yeah.
that well, you know what I mean. There's just these things that they can't get past eventually, so you can't expect them to
Yeah.
yeah, you can't expect them to be the same level we are, or above that necessarily, because who's to say that we're even past getting into space and getting past maybe global warming, if that's if you believe that, or pandemics and stuff, and how to handle those. You could be seeing effects in our society right now that
Right.
show it's really hard for a civilization to overcome these natural problems, and the way to deal with them is advancing technology, obviously, but also sometimes maybe it's just impossible, on such a large scale and such a vast universe too. And what if there's no space travel? Think about it. Getting to Mars takes what?
A year.
A year?
Yeah.
That's just to go to Mars. And it's a fairly close planet. It's
Yeah.
so impractical, and it's not Mars is only a massive investment that no one could ever make work, and that would be for one small biodome. And making that an entirely habitable planet, that's basically impossible. For what we have, the way we run our society right now, and it's not getting any better. It's not people the rich are getting richer, but it's not anyone could just go whenever they want. It doesn't work like that. It's not I think a lot of people have these dreams of saying, oh, it's gonna be the Oregon Trail, or people coming to the Americas in the colonial era. It's not like
Right.
that. It's not the Plymouth Bay colony. It's more it's space. It's
Yeah,
a
it's
horrible
just space.
investment. You go there and you don't usually come back because it's so hard to come back.
Yeah.
So why would that be any different? If assuming there's not that stuff in Star Trek or Star Wars where they warp time to get to somewhere.
Yeah.
and that's still
hyperspace for anyone who
hyperspace.
gets angry, right?
I don't know anything about that, about the science, so, like, and I'm not a genius, but, like, let's say that's not possible. That completely takes it out of the question of any, like, viability for them to get over there. Because think about this. Let's say, like, you know, some group hears something from us. Maybe we have, like, a distress signal. You know, like, oh, let's go help this civilization. And there's no, like, warp speed they can go through.
Yeah.
So we're going through something bad, and they want to come help us. By the time they get here, we'll probably be gone. There's no reason for them to come help us.
Yeah.
And there's no way they could beat us in a war if they're, like, you know, like a million light years difference. By the time they get here, they'd be so, like, obsolete. We kick their butts. So, like, the only way it can work is if you have, like, these, like the hyperspace thing.
Right.
That's the only way it's all possible, or else there's no way aliens are here. There's just no way if that's not the case. And, I mean, I just think, you know, we're not advanced enough, like, not even close enough to be a spacefaring civilization. Probably not for, like, another 1,000 years. I mean, it's a hunch from a non-expert. But you
Yeah,
still get
no.
the point, you know?
No, you know, people might believe that it's getting there, you know, what with the, you know, SpaceX and, you know, Blue Origin, you know, stuff that's been going on, you know, recently. But, I mean, we still, like, I don't think people realize just how far away we're from that, you know. I mean, we don't like use any crazy technology yet, you know, even for, you know, public use. You know, you'd think that if we were getting close to like a what would you call it, a space civilization,
Yeah.
then I think a civilization to be able to do that, it would be just more advanced than this, I think. What do you want to do? Spider-Man? You know, maybe we'd be able to like have a Spider-Man, you know?
The old one.
The old one?
Yeah.
But, okay, if we're talking about like this is some of the most advanced tech, this Roku and, you know, PlayStation and stuff like that.
Yeah.
We have very advanced entertainment, but if we actually talk about, like, medical science, like, they find all sorts of new things, but it's not like, for the average, like, layperson, how it's advanced is really kind of, like, not ultimately that big of a deal when in comparison to where it was, like, 50 years ago.
Yeah.
And for greater society, like, there's been a lot of talk about, has progress actually, like, made the world a better place? Has it made it, you know, societies, I think, would tend to advance the most or become strongest when there's a lot of wealth to, like, for, like, people, like, to invest in stuff, or just have a lot of resources to, like, the average person.
Yeah.
You know, because then there's more reason to have trade and, like, resources move around and, like, the, like, placing down roots to make communities grow. So, but today it's not really the case. Like, there's more, like, wealth disparity, I think, right? That's what
Wealth
it's about?
disparity. Wealth, isn't it wealth inequality?
Yeah, that kind of stuff. There's more than there used to be in, like, the 50s when they had, like, I don't know, it was just different. Like, they had
Right.
more money back then. Like, now the middle class is shrinking, and I get, like, some people are like, oh, well, that's because some of them are becoming richer, but it's also because a lot of them are becoming poorer. And it wasn't really just that. It was also the lower class, the ones who don't have the same kind of money. They could invest, but now it's like they don't have that.
Yeah.
So you could argue our society is regressing economically, at least in the United States.
Whoa. Yeah.
Right? So, like, it's not a singular, like, straightforward progress. And then on top of that, like, a lot of people are getting left behind. So, you can't really argue we're a good spacefaring civilization unless, you know, like if it's just a couple of people. Let's say there's just like a couple Elon Musks, you know,
Okay.
the smart, rich billionaires who can do whatever they want. They're just so advanced. They could go anywhere like in the universe, or and let's just say for the solar system. You know, let's not even get like that complex. Let's just say the solar system.
Okay.
You know, you could say they're a spacefaring group, but they're not a civilization. I mean, it has to be a certain size, right?
Right.
If it's just one small group of people, it doesn't really count. Like, it could be the same civilization, and, you know, one person has to live in, like, Detroit their whole life because they don't have, like, enough money, or they don't have the opportunity to leave that place.
Mm-hmm.
While there are others, you know, who could go around to any city they want and don't have to worry about the money. Don't have to worry about their lifestyle, right?
Yeah.
I guess they're all part of the same civilization, but it's not the same. You know, people on totally different levels. The only way you could include them as part of it is like if people like were slaves, you know, or like didn't really have a say in how that worked. So a lot of it right now doesn't seem very democratic. If we're going in the direction we're going with like Elon Musk's type, I don't really know him, so like he probably doesn't think these things. So I'm just saying.
He's listening to this podcast right now. He's getting very angry at you.
I don't think he cares, but like, you get what I'm saying. Like,
Yeah.
how can a society like this one, if it continues progressing the way it is, be an actual spacefaring civilization that's still like egalitarian and all that? And
Right.
I mean, if anything is evident from like the way things have been going for the past like 500 years, it's hard for me to believe that a dystopian society is actually going to develop. Like people would want to make it that way in space. I can see that because it's like science fiction, but I doubt it. And I don't know. It's like, yeah, it doesn't really work in my mind right now. Probably not for a long time. And
No.
if we're not capable of it, I'm not trying to be like, you know, humans are better than anyone else. Obviously, that could totally not be the case. But if we're not capable of it, it's kind of a lot to assume that others are capable of it, because we don't even necessarily know exactly how life formed on Earth. We have ideas, like the microbes.
Yeah.
We have pretty good ideas. We don't really know. So, like, if we're taking all these like leaps, we have to understand it's just leaps in, you know, logic. We don't have all the pieces together. It's like trying to put together a puzzle, like a giant jigsaw puzzle with like, you know, 1/25 of the pieces. We don't have the vast majority of that information. We just have some theories. We have some pretty good ones of like certain parts of it, but that doesn't explain the vast majority of it.
Yeah.
And there's still so many things that don't add up. I mean, assuming we know all these things. So, I guess all I'm saying is, like, you have all these people who are like, oh, these are probably aliens, it's so cool. And, you know, could be cool. Could be awful. Who knows?
Right.
But, point I'm getting to, and I'm probably talking for too long, but
No, you're fine.
yeah, just finally, like, say it is like, it's so much more likely it's just some BS from the government. You know, they're probably just, like,
Whoa.
I don't know if they're messing with us, but, like, they don't seem like they're above lying. You know, like, there's no reason for me to believe they're not liars. Based on things they've taught, I mean, come on now. But at the same time, like, it seems so much more, like, believable to me. There's probably no aliens involved. They're probably better at covering their tracks than that. Like, if they wanted to talk to us, I think we'd know. But,
Yeah.
yeah, it's obviously not. Well, maybe not obviously, but it's probably not aliens. It's probably just the government being the government about things, and
You're saying the government isn't really
it's probably a red herring, you know? Or maybe someone's trying to mess with them. Or maybe it's still just a hoax, you know, and the government just doesn't want to talk about it because they're like, forget it. Because they know, like, if someone already thinks, like, you're guilty of something, you know, in this case, people think the government's already guilty of, you know, that type of stuff, that sort of alien stuff,
Yeah.
UFOs.
Yeah.
How are you going to convince them that's not the case? So why even bother telling them no? You know, I just all of it seems like a lot of good reasons to believe it's not aliens. So it's kind of crackpotty to listen to like someone talk about, oh, this is it. I doubt it. But it would be cool, I guess. Hopefully.
Well, there you go. So you're saying that the government isn't really being exactly what's the word?
Trustworthy.
Trustworthy? Okay. I'll have you know that the FBI is listening to this recording right now, and they're on their way here to arrest you. No, you know what? I see your point, and I'll have to listen back to this recording to fully understand your point.
Okay.
Because frankly, a lot of it it was so much information, and that's what you do. It's not a bad thing. In fact, I actually like listening to you talk about this stuff. Because you could go on and on for.
Okay.
And it's not a bad thing. It's not a bad thing. But
Alright.
that's why I want you on this podcast to bring dignity
Bring dignity.
and some sort of intelligence to this podcast, and that's what you do.
Thank you.
All right, the government, the government made this up. All right, that's what we're saying.
The government made it up.
The
The government
made it
probably
up.
makes up a lot of crap. I mean,
Who knows what they made up? Who knows what else?
does anyone believe the government anymore? I don't think so.
I sure don't,
I sure
and I don't want them
You're gonna trade on
trespassing
me.
on my property. And don't take my tread on me flag. Because if not, I got my shotgun in the shed.
Alright.
Marshall.
Marshall.
Well, just such, so many things said on this podcast, alright? The government is not to be trusted. The Canadians are not to be trusted. Elon Musk, not to be trusted. Not to be trusted.
I guess not.
And Spider-Man is not to be trusted. Exactly. Spider-Man is not to be trusted.
Huh?
He's a nerd.
Spider-Man's not real.
You know what? He killed Mysterio. That's why.
I don't know what that is.
Yeah, you haven't seen the movie?
No.
I think I just spoiled it for you then.
Okay then.
Alright, well,
Spider-Man doesn't kill people. People kill people.
just like guns don't kill people.
Yeah.
Am I right, Jared? Guns don't kill people. People. Kill people. Alright.
Alright then.
Is that like a political statement thing?
Probably is. I
Uh,
don't know. I haven't watched anything politics in quite a while. Do you?
No, I stopped watching the news and keeping up with politics a long time ago. Well, I think you should expect to be canceled in the
Cancelled.
next few days. Even though nobody knows who you are, nobody
And
knows
nobody
who I am.
watches.
If not, the government, the FBI will capture you, arrest you. They probably filling your what is it? Your Lear up with maybe they planted it with cocaine. I
My
don't know.
days of freedom are numbered, as it were.
This country is going downhill, and I don't like it. Thank you for coming on this podcast, Jared.
You want to come with others, you know?
None of this footage is usable, but I'll make do. I was gonna react to a thing with you, but you know what? If you agree, to come on this podcast. Maybe some other time. We're gonna have a class together this next quarter
Right.
in
Chemistry?
college. Yeah, chemistry.
Yeah.
Chemistry. So who knows? Maybe we can find some time to do this again. I'd like to have you on again and listen to your government hate.
Government hate.
Yeah.
So you're not going to use any of this?
No, I will.
Oh, you will? Okay.
I will. Yeah. But just the parts where I talk.
Oh, yes, of course.
Yeah. You're just here to...
Just moral support.
I guess. I mean...
all right.
You know.
Not even that.
Alright. Well.
Alright.
Great podcast. Great episode. I have this thing that I end on whenever I do this podcast, right? Good. It's where I say goodbye, but in different languages, right? So 1 week I'll do like how the Hawaiians say it. The next week I'll do it how the Italians say it, right?
Okay.
So, and I never remember to pull up the website or to Google it and have it ready. So, there's always this awkward period at the end of each episode. But here we go. All right. You know what? Why don't you pick from one of these? Right? Just pick one of them, and I'll lead us out.
Okay, let's say the Turkish one.
There's a Turkish one.
Yeah, you look at the Turkish one. It's got like 8 dots on it.
Oh my god. Yeah, lots of umlauts.
Umlauts, as the Germans would probably call. I don't think the Turkish would call that.
No.
Umlauts.
No. Well, this has been an exciting episode, alright?
Very exciting.
This is the outro now, right?
Oh, yeah.
So now we're ending, we're killing this.
Eventually it's going to be ended, yes.
Eventually it's gonna die,
Yeah.
this episode. Thank you, Jared, for coming on. This is episode 21
Oh, come on.
of the show. So thank you for listening. And as the Turkish say, fucking hell. Görüşürüz. Literally all the vowels are just weird. Good. Okay, it's an O, so good. Us. Görüşürüz. Goodbye. Jesus Christ.